Rocks for chips. That's the deal that Donald Trump is trying to make right now with China. They're trying to see if they will release some of those rare earth materials needed so badly to produce the batteries and a lot of the other technology that is driving AI and other innovations here in the United States. And if they will let go of some of those rare earth materials, Donald Trump says that we will give you access to some of our top AI chips from our best chip makers. That's the deal on the table. And the fact is that chips have been hot in the stock market, and they still are. NVIDIA has not fallen apart or unwound. It's slowly consolidated under its recent highs, and it's pushing higher. But in particular, AMD is one that I want to talk to you guys about today. Now, I called this out just a couple days ago, and it was the most recent stock that I brought to everyone's attention and said, this is getting ready to explode. It's getting ready to move higher. Now, the very next video, the stock went down a little bit, but I brought it to your attention because I saw in the charts it was getting ready to make a big move. Now, today I'm going to go over the charts with you guys and give you what I perceive to be the next step and what the trigger is. I'm going to remind you of some of the technicals I shared with you in my last video. But the fact is, we hit the up target that I gave you on the last video that I talked with you about AMD. And for that point, every single stock I brought to your attention has been a win over the last couple of weeks. Every single stock has made an explosive move higher shortly after I've talked about it on my show. And today, I'm going to give you another hot banger or a couple of them at the tail end of this video, so make sure that you watch till the end. But we're going to talk for a brief moment about AMD technicals. I'm going to go over Tesla, possibly one or two other plays that we've talked about recently. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for dropping a heart and saying hi. If you've been making some money on the hot plays, let me know in the comment section. But I also want to warn you, every single one of the stocks I've talked about has popped. But if you don't take profits, they will eventually drop, especially if they've hit the target resistance levels that I've given you. Now, in the case of NVTS, this ticker, it just keeps going up. It's blown past my resistance level, and it made a new high today. I'd love to hear if you guys are still holding this one. But I will give you my game plan for NVTS. This has been on an absolute heater for a while, and it's still cooking and still moving to the upside, but it's getting hot. Of course, these will eventually cool off. There's a solid story with the support of NVIDIA behind NVTS, and so there's plenty of room for this to run higher. Now, I had a stop loss, which is what I recommend to anybody following my page or any other person who talks about stocks and crypto. You want to have a stop loss if you take a risk position, because the most important thing is to protect your capital, because every single day there's a new opportunity on Wall Street. I've shown that here on my show over the last couple of weeks as each and every stock I've talked about has popped. Well, if you rolled the winnings from day to day into the next play, you'd just be doing nothing but climbing those stairs of profit. Let's take a very quick peek at NVTS. I want to give you guys a fresh look at the technicals there, and then we're going to dive into some of the other companies that I want to talk with you guys about. Hit that like and that subscribe if you need help trading these choppy markets, interpreting the charts, and finding what is moving in the right direction this week on Wall Street. I try to do all of that for you guys. Drop a heart and just say hi in the comments if you appreciate the videos that I'm making. All right, let's jump into NVTS in the charts real quick. Okay, guys, I just want to point out that we've hit a new high here of $8.50, an absolute massive move. I had a stop loss here right at $7.30 because if you recall, I originally brought this to you guys right here the morning that it was around 457. It shot up the following day, almost as high as 774 then. I gave everybody the trigger of around 515 as the entry that morning. And then when it came back and tagged that level, I told everybody in another video that we were not done going up and that we were likely going to move higher, and that again, this 550 would be a level that you want to watch for a breakout. We've shot all the way up to $8. Now, I'm going to tell you guys that I would love to get this for a bounce off of 550. There's no guarantee it may not do that. It's continuing to trend higher right now. This is a little bit of a breakout, but I just wanted you guys to know what I was doing with NVTS. If you're in it, then I would just make sure you have a stop loss so you can protect all the wins you just got. And if you're like me and you've taken profit already, then we've got to wait for it to potentially come back and find a spot for it to bounce. The area that previously had been the trigger for the up move was between 515 and 550. Now I'm looking for that to be the trigger for the bounce move. We'll see what happens. Let me know in the comment section if you guys are loading up or waiting for this to pull back a little bit. NVTS has absolutely been a winner. So I want to talk a little bit about the Tesla, Trump, Elon drama and share a couple more news stories that I think absolutely will impact the stock. After the fallout between Trump and Elon, there were two analysts that downgraded Tesla. And so it did appear the following day that many on Wall Street were turning their back on Tesla. And I'm also going to admit that I am not myself convinced that I can see a path upwards right now for Tesla. Even though the stock has been moving up, I want to remind you that in the last video that I did on this show, when I covered the Trump-Elon drama, I said that we would continue to climb and that we would likely backtest the 319 level. And that's where we would have to be watching for rejection, 319 to 322. This is a critical level. We're there right now. And so we need to be on heightened alert because this stock is not out of trouble. Unless they can pull off some amazing, peace treaty between Donald and Elon, Tesla's still in trouble and they've lost the seat at the table. And regulators and regulation is one of the biggest subjects that would give us the faith that this company could have grown exponentially over the coming years. It would have been because of the alliance between technology and government, and half of that party has gone home. So in addition to getting two downgrades, I have to share a comment from CNBC. He said, forget about the financial capital, which means the amount of money that you have to invest into something. He said, why are we spending the mental capital to be in Tesla? The chaotic nature surrounding Tesla. He also reminded them that they are reliant on China for batteries and that obviously as the trade war goes up, it could lead to additional margin loss because of the tariff war that's at hand between the US and China. So he basically is saying something that a lot of people have felt in the aftermath of Elon's tantrum. He's saying that people just don't even want to be stressed about this investment. Even though there's a ton of opportunity, I think there is volatility fatigue for Tesla right now. And I'll admit that for the very first time in all these years of being a Tesla investor, I'm feeling it myself. All right, let's talk about the other big news story that seemed to be a kick to Tesla and Elon when he was down the other day. It was from his CEO of the Optimus robots, Chris Walty, the guy that was brought in to be in charge of Optimus and the Optimus development. And you guys have known that I believe that robots could be the world's biggest product here in the coming decade, in addition to AI. And this guy was brought on to lead the Optimus project, and he left Tesla. He left Tesla on the day of the drama. And I don't think they were related events. I think it just happened to be a bad day for Elon. And he left voicing sharp criticism about the direction and viability of humanoid robots for industrial use. He believes that Tesla should have focused instead on simpler, more practical robotic solutions. He told BI that humanoid robots are wrong for factory work. And one of the reasons why he believes that is because he believes the technology simply isn't there, or that the needs of factories transcend the needs of a humanoid type robot. And you say, well, what does he believe the solution to be? Slab robots, which basically is your traditional robotic arm on wheels, or like a ground version of drones that has the ability to move quickly in a factory, right? But it's on the ground and it's got a single robotic arm which can grab and manipulate and move things. He went on to a company called Mitra, which is doing just that. They're building slab-shaped warehouse robots designed for speed and simplicity, a direct divergence from Tesla's Optimus approach. Now, personally, I think that this guy's commentary is valid. If he saw that there was genuine opportunity for Tesla's robots to somehow go into the workforce and Tesla would be the #1 product in the world, he wouldn't have abandoned ship, right? If he thought that there was any opportunity for this to actually come to pass, he would have had a rich company with a a progressive leader in Elon pushing that forward. He simply didn't believe that Tesla or Optimus was ready for that, that it's all a big cosmetics or even perhaps corporate fraud, almost seemed to be the underlining message from the man who is the closest to understanding Optimus. I think these were very damaging comments on his part, and I don't think the markets really properly respond to them. I don't think the Tesla stock price has properly responded either. Now, as I said, I saw bullish divergence in the charts on the 1 hour time frame yesterday, and it's led to a run up today on Tesla, but now we're back testing an extremely critical area. Let me take you into the charts and let you see what I see. All right, Tesla's had an absolutely incredible day today and a recovery bounce from its recent lows down at 273. It's coiling up, in my opinion, between 284 and 328. So basically, we had this massive drop and we've created a little coil candle here. What's the next move? Well, if it really is going to continue to run, it's got to close with high volume above 328. And we're pretty much knocking on that door right now. So 328 is the trigger to return back to all-time highs. However, I just gave you one of the important factors that we need to be watching for, which is high volume. Now, the only high volume on this chart, this massive red sell node here at the bottom, and right next to it is a little bitty baby green node standing in the shadow of the great big red node. So what it really tells you is that when selling was the business, business was good. And when buying was the business, not many showed up for the buying party. And so we have to watch very, very carefully for rejection here, somewhere around 328. Tesla tends to run pretty hard. I think it overshot its resistance area of right around 320 to 322. And I'm not really buying this return for an up move. The only thing that would put all of this back into a place of genuine optimism and bullishness would be a return to the White House. If we did get that close above 328, well, then it means we're going all the way back to 360 to 380 right now. But if we end up losing 312, that's right, 312 again, then we are going to be going back to 284, and we open up the door all the way back to 260 is going to be the local target if we reject at this current level. That's the game plan, folks. Momentum is absolutely stalling at these levels. If we come back here, we see that we had this incredible momentum push up on the MACD on the weekly time frame, but since then, we've printed a sell order, and now we've turned around and we are sitting right at the zero line, which is a line of decision, but also it shows that momentum has cooled. Now, on the RSI, we are still above the 50, but we have to wait until this week finishes up to see where we end up. Because if we end up breaking beneath the 50 on the RSI, well, then a lot of things have turned against Tesla for the time being. I've actually never been wrong on Tesla in my global predictions. Now, I can't get everything to the penny and to the dollar and to the day. I can't do that. Because sometimes I'll say that this is a great place to short, and then the very next day it'll make a wild push higher, $5 to $8. But then the very next day after that, it has complete capitulation and drops $10, $20, $30. So I can't tell you that we are exactly at the pinpoint moment in which all of us should short Tesla. But what I can tell you is that we're at the most critical spot for Tesla in 2025, and it's the next 24 hours, because we need to have a surge of buying volume to justify holding this at this level. Otherwise, we're coming down to a much lower price. And I think I said 250, and so that would be a devastating downturn on the Tesla stock. I'd love to hear from you guys what you think. The other day I read a comment and someone said, Josh is just peddling bearishness. First of all, I love Tesla. I love the company and I own a big chunk of it. I don't want to see it go down. No, I'm not peddling bearishness. I'm giving you an honest review of the technicals of the charts and the fundamentals of the company. And honestly, they're not that good right now. there's been an absolute storm of trouble came into Elon's life. And the worst part of it wasn't even the drama between Elon and Musk for me personally, even though I hated that and I thought it was wildly unprofessional on the part of both of them. The worst part was the Optimus robot CEO saying, I'm jumping ship. This isn't happening. Go to Slab Robots. To me, that has to be weighed in for a long-term investment on Tesla. So do with it as you will. Let me know in the comment section what you think you will do with it. I'd love to hear from you guys. And since the video's already running long, I'm going to quickly shoot to AMD. I'm looking at the weekly time frame, and we have really had a nice, big, beautiful blast off, pushing up above my trigger price of 122.80, which was when the real opportunity begins to heat up. And we have officially, as of today, closed over that important price point, which means that the move potentially up to 128 is now on the table. Now, do not expect an overnight move and consider taking profits along the way, because we just had a beautiful pop from 115 all the way up to 124, a near $10 move. Now, I also want to point out on the MACD, on a very high time frame, we're operating off of a beautiful bullish buy signal, a cross of the blue line above the signal line. And if this blue line crosses up above the zero line, it means this thing's going to $140. I also want to point out that we have gone from an oversold position on the RSI all the way to a neutral position. We've back tested it and we've pushed higher today. This has room to move. We haven't even begun to get this up party started for AMD. But as always, you want to have a stop loss plan because we're in profit. We're in green right now. But you need to have a strategy for fading out of winning positions. At the time being, I'm holding mine. I will cover AMD again in the days to come. One more stock I want you guys to be aware of what I'm doing with, and that's BBAI. And I let the Discord know that I let this one go. I just have better stocks to play. It could have a pop moment, but I want to draw your attention to a couple problems. Here on the daily time frame, we've recently had a cross under of the MACD, right? And then down here, which was even a bigger issue on the RSI, we've had a complete retreat from the 60% level, and we're now back testing 50. So we haven't broke down completely. But if we don't bounce here tomorrow and get up to $5, personally, I think BBAI is going to have a downturn to at least $3.20. Now, as I said, I'm not in it. I'm not advising you guys what to do. I'm just letting you know that BBAI did what I wanted it to do the day I talked about this. A buy from 380 and a pop up to $4.30 was the winning play, but now it's cooled off. And I want to remind you that I told you that you want to have a stop loss at $3.80, and this thing has broken that level, and so it's not something for me right now. All right, let's quickly talk about what is working. This will be a new recommendation for everybody, and it's going to be a little bit not what you expect. I have to highlight crypto right now. Your man has put some bags back to work in the alts. I told you that I likely saw Bitcoin hitting a high here in the month of June, and that the alts would have a short altcoin season sometime between June and July. Now, in the Stocks with Josh Discord, I alerted the community on June 8th that I was taking a large position into Ondo, which I'm up significantly in right now, well within profit. I also highlighted Tau and Sui. And I think that for those who love XRP, there's going to be a bounce there as well. You don't want to sleep on any of those four that I just mentioned. Now, if you guys want these types of alerts, you need to come over to the Stocks with Josh Discord page. On that point, we live trade 5 days a week. I myself am available Wednesdays and Fridays, and you can get Spy Lord Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And in addition to that, I give my trade setups 5 days a week, half an hour before the market opens, and those are the exact same trade setups that I take in my daily day trading. Guys, come check it out. It's not just me, it's me and my Crown Traders. We're making money there. Tomorrow, I'm going to live trade with the family. Come and check it out, and let's see if we can win again. Appreciate each and every one of you guys joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Peace and blessings. Take care.